إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهد الله فهو المهتد ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إنك ميت وإنهم ميتون صدق الله العلي العظيم ونفعني وإياكم بالذكر الحكيم. Brothers and sisters in Islam, Alhamdulillah, most of you are aware that these khutbahs, the sermons that you're hearing, are not of a usual subject. They directly relate to our role model, our Imam, our Qudwa, our guide, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And whatever happened around him, whatever he said, he did, he approved, becomes very important for us. Because he's our guide, he's our role model, he's our example. We take lessons from his life, from his affairs, whatever he conducted and however he conducted. So, Alhamdulillah, and even for myself, I want to tell you that, Alhamdulillah, in my 15 years in this masjid, since 2001, if you ask me the most important and valuable khutbahs ever, then these are these khutbahs. I never touched this subject because I did not feel that I was ready for this. It was, alhamdulillah, for years, at least last 5 years or so, it was in my to-do list that inshallah one day I will touch this subject. And due to this subject, just so you know, those of you who attend my seerah classes, I had to put a hold on those. Because this subject needs so much attention and so much care that you don't want to tip this way or that way. Biases, prejudice, it's very, very dangerous. And I saw a color of that. I saw a color of that when I gave a khutbah about Ali radiallahu anhu. I saw a color of that. And now the khutbahs are coming about Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu. That's why we are required to have that balance in our faith. Not to be biased when we are dealing in this subject. Because everyone that dealt with Rasulullah ﷺ and believed in him and followed his footsteps is important to us. And we take their examples. And we learn lessons from them. That's how it should be. It should not be partisan and groupings and all that. Stay away from this, my brothers and sisters. And Friday is our weekly reminder that we must take lessons from them. And now we are in Sahih al-Bukhari's commentary, Fathul Bari. Last time I left you with was Kitab al-Adhan, Bab جعل الإمام ليؤتم به صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم في مرضه الذي توفى فيه بالناس وهو جالس. Now we're getting into this subject that Prophet Muhammad صلى الله عليه وسلم, when he became extremely ill, and you heard what happened, how he appointed Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu before in Khutbah. And now, when the Wednesday night came, and of course, Islamically, Wednesday night is actually Thursday. Please keep that in mind. So when the books say it's the Isha of Thursday, they're not talking about like us today. Unfortunately, we say Friday night today. No, it is Saturday night for them. Remember that, keep that in mind. When you read the books, if you do inshallah, keep that in mind when you're reading the text. Okay. So this one day when he tried very hard, he woke up, he couldn't, he got back, then he fainted, he took shower, bathed in a hot tub, a tub also was borrowed, remember? This is the life Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam lived. Even the tub was not available in the house of Aisha radiallahu anha. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam finally, Ali and Abbas, his uncle and his cousin, you know them, radiallahu anhuma, may Allah be pleased with both of them, they basically gave their shoulders to him and he literally was dragged on. He was dragging his feet, and wallahi, my brothers, people could see, as they are describing in Sahih al-Bukhari, that we could see the khat, the line drawn with the feet of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam as he was brought to the masjid. And let us ask ourselves, when we are healthy, capable, fine, alhamdulillah, with all the blessings of Allah, and still many don't come and pray, we should really see and evaluate our own selves, that are we really following footsteps of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? That Nabi of Allah who did not leave Salah when he was that sick that he was dragged to the masjid carrying on their shoulders. Two people, just imagine yourself in that situation. This is how he came. And when he came, people were already praying Isha. I believe it was Isha or one of the prayers. And people actually signaled Abu Bakr radiallahu anh. And Abu Bakr saw Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And in the prayer, he wanted to move again, like last time you heard. He wanted to move, but Prophet ﷺ signaled him that stay on your place. Now they asked Mu'mineen, she's the narrator of this hadith, and she's right there. This is where Prophet is buried. So you can imagine, she's seen the whole thing and she knows more than anybody else. They said, who was leading the prayer? That's an interesting situation. A lot of people even today, they think Abu Bakr led Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. No, he did not actually. Once again, like the Khutbah, actually, even though he stood there, and Prophet ﷺ, of course, he was dragged on, so he literally sat down. Prophet was leading, Abu Bakr was simply proclaiming or repeating what Prophet was saying. You know how we have sometimes somebody behind you? When there's no mic, a brother says, Allahu Akbar loud. So he was repeating behind Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Many things to learn from here before I continue further. We have how important the role of a leader in the community is. These are some of the general lessons that we take. How much respect they had for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and they did the same thing for when Umar radiallahu anhu and others were also leading Muslims for Imam. Moving in a necessary situation. So yes, they waited, but they had to pray because Prophet had sent a message that had them start the prayer, right? So there's always that vice Imam has to be appointed in a community. That what if Imam is not available? So these are some of the lessons we should take out for us in this. Now, necessity in a situation like this, movement is okay. Even signaling is okay. This morning, brothers asked me that what should we do if I'm praying Tahiyatul Masjid and a brother comes and he wants to join me, convert me into an Imam, make me an Imam. He says, you can signal him. These are the last things of Rasulullah. So people who argue, no, these things happened before and it got cancelled and changed. Excuse me, these are a few days before Rasulullah's death. Nothing happens to your salah if you signal somebody. You can signal them. You can stop someone. Prophet taught us that actually if someone is passing right in front of you, you can stop them. He said even if you have to do jidal, the word is jidal, hold them, fight them. Ulama say, well, jidal means that you have to be tough in this, like you have to signal hard. Like, don't talk, but keep it up. These are the lessons we take from this. And out of respect, adab. See how important adab indeed is for a leader, and of course Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Abu Bakr did not lead, like the last week's talk about Khutbah. And here another thing to know, that the only companion that led Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in prayer, the only companion that led Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in prayer is actually Abdul Rahman ibn Auf radiallahu anhu. Most people don't know that. What happened, Muslims were in a travel. And in those days how hard it was to find water, to do the nature call, you have to go far at a distance and all that. Prophet Muhammad ﷺ was gone and he wasn't back yet. For Fajr, sun was about to come out. They could see that, the change of color by the horizon. Like, whoa, we're going to lose prayer. So they said, Abdul Rahman, you should lead the Salah. So they appointed him to lead the Salah, And when he was leading the prayer, so it was a huge, we're talking about thousands of people that are going on a ghazwa with Rasulullah. Prophet came behind and he prayed one rak'ah behind Abdurrahman ibn Auf. And that is when Prophet Muhammad said that yes, you should not wait for Imam to that extent that the prayer is over. So we have, complete guidelines that how much wait you should do for Imam and how much you should not wait for Imam. Until the sun. He said that's good. So alhamdulillah, through this event we learned that this great companion of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who is one of the blessed 10 by the way, has the honor of leading Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And he is the one that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam tied a amama with his own hands on his head. With his own hands. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam tied an amama on his head. So now here comes another question from the same story. Once Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, I'll tell you another incident. Once Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam fell from a horse. He fell from a horse. This is one of the sports that actually Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam recommended for Muslims to learn. Horse riding, swimming, horse riding, and all, and archery and all that. He said they're good sports. He fell from the horse, and he hurt his hip, and he could not stand up. So he came and he led the prayer. Again, something you're going to learn here. He prayed sitting and he noticed that all the companions were standing behind him. So in the prayer, he signaled them like this. Sit down, sit down, sit down, sit down. And after the prayer, he told them that, do you want me to become like a king? That king is sitting and everybody is standing? But here we have a problem. Prophet Muhammad is sitting, but everybody is still standing. Here, while he's sick, a few days before his life. So what should we do? Alhamdulillah, that's why this is where fiqh comes in. Fiqh of Islam. This is where ulama do istinbat. Those who think fiqh is garbage, we don't need it, they need to get their heads examined. This is something that fuqaha and lawgivers solve that, well, we have two, here there's a dichotomy. What should we do about that? They said the simplest answer that I liked the most from one of the A'immah, he said, I'm not going to mention the names here, so it's important to know the rule here, so that you don't take the bias here, to avoid the bias. They say if Imam starts the prayer sitting, so this is the rule now that is extrapolated out of these two incidents that I've told you. If Imam starts the prayer sitting, everyone must pray behind him sitting. Agreed? Like he did. If Imam started like Abu Bakr standing, but something happened, same Imam or the other one sits down. Let's say he's fainting or something happening, he sits down. He changed his posture. Now you don't have to sit down. Does it make sense? Please keep that with you. If Imam started sitting, you must all be seated. Don't stand up when you're praying behind him. If Imam started standing, but he sat down, changed the posture during the prayer, now you do not have to sit down. Alhamdulillah. This is called istinbat in Islam. To corroborate the different evidences and put them together for good purpose. Explanation. Now, after he finished the prayer, he went to Minbar and gave a beautiful khutbah. Very brief. عن أبي سعيد الخدري رضي الله عنه قال خطب رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم الناس أو وسلم الناس. Rasulullah صلى الله عليه وسلم gave a speech to people after he did that prayer during his illness. This is narrated several places in Bukhari. Several places, you can't miss it. 3,904, 3,654, and 466. Beautiful words. I will say the first words of Prophet Muhammad as we have them received by Imam al-Bukhari, or narrated by Imam Bukhari, recorded. إِنَّ اللَّهَ خَيَّرَ عَبْدًا بَيْنَ الدُّنْيَا وَبَيْنَ مَا عِنْدَهُ فَاخْتَارَ ذَلِكَ الْعَبْدُ مَا عِنْدَ اللَّهِ الله أكبر. قال فبكى أبو بكر فعجبنا لبكائه أن يخبر رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم. They said, Rasulullah said something very touchy here. He said, Allah gave his slave, his servant, a servant, he didn't mention who, a choice. Whether to live in this world or to come and meet me, his creator, Allah, God. And the servant, that servant, chose to meet God. And when he said that, Abu Bakr started to cry. And Abu Sa'id radiallahu anh says, we didn't understand why is he crying until later it was revealed to us. He knew. Abu Bakr figured out that Prophet Muhammad is talking about himself. This is a great honor that prophets and messengers of God have been given throughout, that when angel of death is about to come visit them, they are given a choice. Whether you want to live or you want to go. They are given a choice. And this choice was being given to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And my brothers and sisters, then he said some very beautiful things also. He said, Inna amanna an-nasi alayya fi suhbatihi wa malihi Abu Bakr. وَلَوْ كُنْتُ مُتَّخِذًا خَلِيلًا غَيْرَ رَبِّي لَاتَّخَذْتُ أَبَا بَكْرٍ خَلِيلًا وَلَكِنْ أخوة الإسلام ومودته لا يبقين في المسجد باب إلا سد إلا باب أبي بكر رضي الله عنه. He said that among the people in general, this is, I'll just give you a brief meaning of this, that the people, the most someone has given to me in companionship and support, the most support that I have given has come from Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu. And by God, if I had to take a Khalil other than God, I would have taken Abu Bakr. But Allah, he chose Allah as his Khalil. And he said, but that doesn't mean that my relation is not with him. My Islamic brotherhood, as you know, that relationship and love is still there for him. And people know this. He's saying that this is one of the last things that Prophet ﷺ is talking about. He said, people know this, that all the doors that come to the masjid, the gates, must be closed, except that gate from which Abu Bakr comes should remain open. Keep only that door open. It's a very figurative speech here. Only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and of course the one who he revealed to Prophet Muhammad could get to the full extent of its meaning. But apparently he's talking about that Abu Bakr, the route he takes to come to Masjid, that should be the route that everybody should choose. SubhanAllah. My brothers and sisters, here there's another important lesson to learn for us. That who is Khalil? In the Quran, there's only one person who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned as his Khalil. Only one person. And that is Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam. No one else ever in the whole Quran has ever been mentioned as friend of God. Al-Khalil is a very intimate, close friend of God. I mean, that is the best understanding or translation of Khalil. Like it or not, that's Khalil. Above Habib. And that's why Imam Ibn Qayyim al-Jawziyah rahimahullah, he said upon this that those Muslims are really ignorant of Arabic language who think that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is Habibullah, that is better than Khalilullah. They said there is no better relationship with God than being a Khalil of God. He said those people are ignorant of Arabic language. Ibn Qayyim said that, not this non-Arab saying. Ibn Qayyim said that. Imam Ibn Qayyim al-Jawziyah said that those people who think Rasulullah is not Khalilullah wa Habibullah, they're juhal in Arabic language. They don't know Arabic language. Because there is no better friendship or lovely Khalila for no one else. Allah loves muttaqeen, Allah loves tawabin, Allah loves mutatahireen, but He never said Allah is Khalil of mutatahireen, tawabin, muttaqeen. Inna Allah yuhibbu tawabin wa yuhibbu mutatahireen. Inna Allah yuhibbu muttaqeen. Many people are beloved of Allah, but very few are Khalil of Allah. Akhilla are very few. So Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam from Quran and Sayyidina Muhammad al-Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wa sallam in Hadith are the two Khalils of Allah. Two very special friends of Allah. That's a great honor for Muslims, that in all the previous prophets and messengers of God, we revere, we love them all, we believe in them all, including Jesus, peace be upon him, we believe in him as well. But no one was ever called God's Khalil. There's a city named after him, Al-Khalil also. He is the only Khalil in the Quran. And Alhamdulillah, Allah revealed on Prophet through hadith. Otherwise, you could not have ever compared Prophet with Ibrahim. See how much Prophet is compared with Ibrahim? In your Salawat Ibrahimi, every day you compare them. As Ibrahim, as Prophet Muhammad, as Ibrahim's children, as Prophet Muhammad's children. So Khalil, subhanAllah, Rasulullah is Allah's Khalil, and Allah took him as his Khalil. And last few things here, my brothers and sisters, that there are many other great favors that Abu Bakr did to Islam. That's why Prophet Muhammad was reminding us to be respectful of Abu Bakr and to take care of his rights, to love him. Because, Imam Ibn Kathir says in Al-Bidayah wal-Nihaya that in volume 6, when he talks about Jaysh of Usama ibn Zayd, not Usama bin Laden, Usama ibn Zayd, radiallahu anhu. That's one of the great heroes of Islam. Usama ibn Zayd ibn Haritha, radiallahu anhu. May Allah be pleased with both of them. So he said in that context, at the end of the story I'll tell you, he said that when Prophet Muhammad died, there were only 3 masjids in the whole Islamic world, which is, you combine today's about a dozen nations. You're talking about all Middle East and Yemen, Yemen and outskirts of Africa and many other Roman outskirts. All the Muslim world had only 3 masjids where there was Jum'ah. Every place else, this Friday prayer was abandoned. It was abandoned. Who are those? Which 3 masjids are those? Masjid al-Haram, Makkah, Ka'batullah. Masjid al-Nabawi in Medina. And the third Imam Ibn Kathir says Masjid Abdul Qais in Bahrain. In Bahrain. That's it. Who restored that for Muslims? Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu. Salah. Even the Salah, Iqamatul Salah was restored for Muslims by him. Only 3 masjids, my brothers and sisters. Allahu Akbar. And another great service, that Muslims stopped giving almsgiving to the poor. So the difference between rich and poor was increasing. And at that time, great companions who were very brave before Islam and in Islam were telling Abu Bakr, no, Prophet just died, we are in such a weak situation. No, he said, no, by God, even if they refuse to give to the right of poor equal to a rope that you tie around the camel, even that much, even for that value, if they refuse, wallahi, I will take it from them and give it to the poor. I will take it from them and give it to the poor. I will not let that injustice take place in my leadership. So in his short period of leadership, through him, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala restored justice, peace, and stability for the Muslim Ummah. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروه. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله أما بعد. So in the second khutbah, my brothers and sisters, 3 important reminders. First of all, I would like to remind you again to fulfill your pledges. Do your best, please. And Friday is one of those days that actually Sahaba, many of them, used to come and give sadaqah and charity on the way. And Alhamdulillah, last week and 3-4 days ago, several people, Alhamdulillah, have asked me that can they give their zakat and sadaqah. And many people have already, and I am repeating this again, that yes, you can. Because this is it's a school project, and even for masjid actually, even if it is a masjid project, it's okay. You can give zakat and sadaqah, but Alhamdulillah, our masjid's policy is that when you give them zakat, it says zakat, they give zakat as a separate zakat committee and distribute it as zakat. So when you're giving it for school, you don't have to mention that this is zakat. That's another misconception among Muslims, that when you're giving zakat, they say you must tell him, brother, I'm giving you zakat. If you did that to a Muslim brother, he would say, brother, thank you. I know this. Don't play with people's self-respect and their dignity and honor. Unfortunately, we forget that many times. So you can just simply say it is for school project, a new building, and put it there, inshallah. May Allah accept it from you all. Secondly, I would like to thank our instructors in the university who are bringing these students to the masjid. That might help a lot to get rid of this Islamophobia and negative campaign about Islam, so that they see Muslims here, that we are not just black Muslims or white Muslims or blue or yellow skin. We are from all over the world. This is, you can look at this place as a Methodist Christian who came to visit us once, and he said, man, this looks like a mini human. He said that. So mashallah, all these people are sitting here and they believe in one God. They're all peace-loving citizens. Nobody has ever caused havoc in this city, alhamdulillah. And we hope to live like that, inshallah. And I just want to thank you all for coming and being respectfully listening to us. It's very important. Just so you know, and I've said this before as well in the khutbah, that Muslims, I will say it again in different words, Muslims are the only non-Christians, who actually revere Jesus Christ more than anybody. In fact, they believe in some of his miracles more than what's in the Bible. They're the only non-Christians. So I just wanted to bring to the attention of our guests, because many people in this country are Christians, so sometimes one of the taboos or stigma they hold is like, okay, these are non-Christians, that's why we shouldn't listen to them. So just so you know. Thirdly, we have several people in the community who are suffering in different illnesses and sickness. We're talking about the Marad of Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and events holding around. Please make dua for all the brothers and sisters who are suffering. May Allah give them all shifa. Heal them, cure them, inshallah. Allahumma shfi mardana wa mardal muslimin. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us all among the best of the believers, inshallah, and give us the company of his akhillah, inshallah. Give us the company of Sayyidina Ibrahim, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and all the noble prophets and messengers of Allah. Inna Allah ta'ala قال الله تعالى في القرآن الكريم إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل وسلم على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وبارك وسلم.